time, we calling on the president of our association, the Association of Nigerian Scholars in Hong Kong, who is actually organizing this event, to give us an opening remark. Thank you, sir.
Hello, everyone. Please, could you confirm that you can hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon and good morning to you, everyone, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Ijeoma, and I am privileged to serve as the president of the association for this session. And with me here, we have other executive of the association, Ms. Joy Akaniro, who just introduced me now. She's secretary. We have the welfare officer in person of Mr. Sopri Jabo. We also have the information officer, Ms. Linda Mbechidima. I apologize for the pronunciation, and our financial secretary here. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the presence rather of our guests, speakers, Dr. UGWUANYI Ijeoma, Ms. HOFFMAN Denise, and of course, Mr. OWOYEMI. We aptly appreciate their joining us today, and we look forward to learning as much as we can from their respective presentations. Also in absentia, I would like to acknowledge our patron, that's in person of Professor Marafa Lawal, and of course the Consular General of the Nigerian Consulate here in Hong Kong, Dr. Adibayo. They have been of immense support to our session over the times that we've been here. So once again, I'd like to appreciate everybody that's joining. And we really hope that the things you're going to learn here will be practical tips that you can actually apply and use for your career advancement. Hong Kong is a really great place from experience. And I believe that there's so much opportunity here. This is just one of the many platforms that we present to sensibilize the public on what we could do to advance our various careers here in Hong Kong. And very quickly, I'm going to talk, say in like 30 seconds about ENSHK. That's what you see here. The Association of Nigerian Scholars in Hong Kong is an academic organization that encompasses all scholars in Hong Kong of Nigerian origin in Hong Kong. So whether they're undergraduate, graduate, postgraduate, or even faculty members. So we've been here for 10 years, and we host programs like this to actually foster a sense of community, a sense of belonging, and of course, to help ourselves get ahead in our respective academic and professional careers. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to the secretary, that's Ms. Joyce, to continue with the presentation and introduction of guests. Thank you, and once again, you're very welcome.
All right, thank you so much. So we'll be going straight to the talk for today. Actually, we'll be having 3 speakers talk to us today, and I'll go straight to the first speaker. So at the end of every session, if you have any question, there is an opportunity to ask questions. So the presentation takes 20 minutes. Then we have 10 minutes of Q&A. So please let's stay connected. Please, can you go to the next slide? Okay. The first speaker will be talking on navigating higher education teaching opportunities in Hong Kong. And permit me to call on the first speaker. Before she comes on stage, I'll be taking a citation in the person of Dr. Ijeoma UGWUANYI. Dr. Ijeoma earned her PhD from City University of Hong Kong, where she had also won awards for teaching and academic performance. Previously, she worked as a finance and administrative officer for an NGO in Nigeria, targeting the empowerment of vulnerable groups. Her research interests include business and society, leadership, gender diversity, and women business outcomes. Currently, she works as a senior lecturer in global business at the Lee Shao Ki School of Business Administration, Hong Kong Metropolitan University, a position she assumed since June 2023. Aside from her work engagements, she enjoys spending time with her husband and her 3 kids, as well as inspiring and motivating people. Her hobbies are listening to music and traveling. Please join me as I welcome Dr. Ijeoma on stage. You're welcome, Ma. Please take the stage for your presentation. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Just check that you can hear
Hello,
me and that
everyone.
you can see me.
Yes, you're audible, you're visible.
Okay. So let me share my screen. Can I do that? Okay.
Just a minute.
Okay.
You should be able to share now. Can you try that?
Okay. So,
Okay.
all right.
You're good.
So, see if I can pitch this out. All right. Good afternoon from here. And I'm happy to be on this platform to share, I would say, basically my experience, because like I always say, everyone's experience with the abroad life is usually quite different. But hopefully we can have take this conversation further on some of these opportunities that are being opened up for all of us. Right. So let's dive in. So today I would start with I'll take us through some social myths and beliefs about um, about us as Africans here in Hong Kong. Then I will try to introduce some theory about culture and change, from the diversity lens. Then I will look at, I'll try to, list some universities apart from the UGC universities that we can all try. I would, give some highlights on benefits and compensation, just to give us some motivation to, seek teaching opportunities. And then I will present some useful links and websites. Then for teaching culture, I would try to give us some heads up on the expectations around here and how you can prepare for those expectations. All right, so I don't like to I don't like to sound like a motivational speaker, but I think some of these quotes help from time to time just to keep you on track. So this quote, I like it because it not only tells us about change, but it also tells us to take the opportunities that change brings, right? And this is by Tony Robbins. It says, uh, take the opportunities, stop being the chess piece, right? Become the player, right? So in terms of acceptance for Black people, I always tell people that we are going through a phase, especially in Asia, not just in Hong Kong. You would agree with me that the prime destination for most Africans, that is Nigerians, will be the US, the UK, and maybe Canada these days, and maybe Australia and maybe Ireland, a couple of other countries, Germany. So Hong Kong generally and the rest of Asia is quite new for most of us. And most of us landed here by random chance, very random. It was very random. We were not even looking forward to coming towards Asia for studies, but the opportunity came and most of us applied and then took this opportunity, right? So, but it's important to be very culturally sensitive and what experts call cultural intelligence. So it's important to understand what the people here think about us, not because we want to start hiding under the shades of discrimination and all that, but it's also to come from a place of empathy and also understanding of where you come from and where you are currently staying, right? Because um, this is also not because of Asia. If you even go to the US or any of the Western countries, it's also important to have um, cultural intelligence because it helps you to thrive in the place where you find yourself. So in terms of uncertainties and beliefs, I've heard stories like, like the typical Hong Kong person sees you as a bad luck, right? So I'm sure you've seen some people may have seen like your neighbors don't want to see you in the morning, right? Is there, well, but it also depends on who you've met, right? So there are also people who are very enlightened around here who really don't believe some of those things, right? That a black person is bad luck, right? So, but these are realities, right? So, be they stereotypes or anything, but they are realities, and it's something that we should keep in mind when we deal with them. So they also don't like uncertainties, right? They try their best to preempt things, predict things, gamble over things, take risk. That's how they are. So it's important to keep some of these in mind. But recently we've seen changes, right? So I would say Hong Kong universities are largely multicultural, so yeah, they are moving towards the cross-cultural stage, but generally we're still, trucking along. We're not yet there in terms of cross-cultural. I will show you the example, and I'll tell you what each of these stages of cultural change that um, was initially theorized by Milton Burnett. He's an American intercultural communication scholar. And most people in the field of diversity have been using, this to explain, how diversity happens in many contexts. All right. So the multicultural basically is a situation where, there are different cultures, there are different people from different countries, but they are in clusters, right? So the Black people talk to the Blacks, the Latin Americans talk to the Latin Americans, uh, the Asians talk to themselves, you know, just a few interactions, just a few, you know, communication or, acceptance, so to speak. Not so much. So as you could see, the lines are in dotted, they are dotted lines. So maybe you have assignments and then there's this random person in your group who is Black or who is Caucasian. That's the first stage of cultural change, right? But the reason why these three groups of, persons or races are together is because, the society is beginning to acknowledge diversity, beginning to acknowledge that people are very different, and there's a lot of benefit for having people who are different in a particular school or whatever context that you can imagine, right? So even the UN Development Goals is talking about diversity. Everyone is talking about it, but to the extent that is being, totally accepted is also is another question, right? But the good thing is that at least people mention it and people acknowledge that, oh, there are different cultures, and people coming from different backgrounds could also have things to contribute, to a particular context. So the second stage is the cross-cultural. You see the lines are becoming stronger. The communication lines are stronger. People are beginning to say, you know what, we should give more opportunities. We should even intermarry, and all of those kind of things. So this is higher than the multicultural, because here people are beginning to become more sensitive, knowing what to say, how to communicate, how to pass their message across in such a way that will not be offending to the other party. All right. So the last is the the intercultural. We're very far from this, even in the world. Like, I mean, people even in Canada from time to time mention, the issues of not being totally accepted in the community. It may not be overt, right? It may be, in shades and colors that you may not easily recognize, but you would see it from time to time. This is the hope that we'll get here, the intercultural stage, but it will still take some time, I guess, because even within us, we don't even have the intercultural stage. Like in Nigeria, we don't have it, right? Even amongst a particular race, you don't even have it. So there are all shades of differences that people like to flag around whenever they want to gain some personal, when they have a personal agenda. All right, so let's move on to the Hong Kong education players, right? So if you studied in Hong Kong, you would probably hear more about the 8 to 9 UGC funded schools, Lingnan Baptist U, CTU, Hong Kong U, Chinese U, CDU, and as you would have the list. So, but in recent times, even I didn't know about some of these. They call them self-financed universities. And this particular list that I show you here is from the UGC. So the UGC, the University Grants Commission, which also hosts the Hong Kong Fellowship and other fellowships. So they have a fund called the FDS, so Research Development Scheme, something like this, because I had to apply for this. So each of these schools on this list, they have the opportunity to get funding from UGC for different research opportunities. So in addition to the UGC, like the UGC funded schools, these are, self-financed schools, but they tend to have, links with the government. They have access to government funds. There are others that may not be here, but, with some Google search, you could also find them. But I decided to use this list because it's also a list published by the UGC. And each of these universities here participate in the research funding opportunities. So if you're thinking that, I'm more research inclined, so why would I want to do teaching, right? So it may interest you to know that each of these schools here have research opportunities, although it may be very tough because the teaching load is quite high. So the difference between these schools and the UGC schools is that they are not as research intensive. And again, the teaching load is usually a bit higher. However, a couple of universities on this list are also trying to, do a lot of overhaul and also access a lot of funding opportunities so that they can ramp up their research abilities. Schools like the Hong Kong Metropolitan University, the Hang Seng University of Hong Kong. There's another. I think the Caritas one is now changed to Augustine University. I don't remember, but these are universities that they are worth checking. And then the Hong Kong Baptist University, the Hong Kong the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, they all have what they call School of Continuing Education. I think PolyU is called PolyU Speed, and there's also HKU Space, something like this. So each of these, they are not really, they are separate entities, right, from the main UGC schools, but they have opportunities that even if you finish your PhD here in Hong Kong, you could actually try and see how you can build your research profile and then move on from there. Now, in terms of benefits and compensation, I would say, honestly, that the salary is quite decent. Decent is a decent word, right? It's quite good. From coming from PhD, it can be quite good. And then the good thing about starting a formal job in Hong Kong is that it's a soft landing for future jobs, both in Hong Kong and abroad. And then there's medical coverage for yourself, for your family. And then it only gets better in Hong Kong, right? So if you pay attention carefully to people who work in Hong Kong, they just stay maximum 1 or 2 years in Hong Kong, and then in a particular organization in Hong Kong, and then they move on to another one. If you ask them, maybe they don't tell you, but the reason is, so assuming you started with like 20K HKD, if you move to another role, they cannot pay you less than 20K, right? So it's from 25, 30, or depending on how generous the organization is. So people move a lot. Also, there are also political reasons, like, you may be in a particular organization, you're doing well, people don't want to give you promotion. Once you move on to another place, see, the promotion will come even with bigger opportunities. And again, if you think about it, most of us, when we first came to Hong Kong, or assuming you got your first job, let's say after master's, so they ask you your previous salary, right? And imagine converting your Naira, assuming you work in Nigeria, converting Naira to HKD and then presenting it as your previous job pay, it's going to affect your current pay, because they are going to say, oh, this is what you were worth, right? And then why should we pay you higher, right? Okay, but I mean, there may be other grounds of why they may want to pay you higher. Maybe you have a PhD, or other skill sets that they have in their policy, that if you have this skill set, they cannot pay you lower than a certain amount. So I would say in general, it's a good start, and things are changing very slowly but surely. So it's something to try. Try it, build your research portfolio, your finances. Then if you feel that you're tired of staying in Hong Kong at some point and you want to move elsewhere, it's always a win-win, because you would have built some stability, and you also have something to take off from. You're not just presenting employers with some either Naira value of what you've earned before, or at least you would have also taught in a multicultural environment, which is very important also for jobs, assuming you want to leave Hong Kong. But I would say it's decent, it's good, and it can be very, very beneficial for for future opportunities when I'm in Hong Kong or abroad. Then the first useful link something I really found useful is the uni jobs. So the uni jobs you can filter jobs from location to location. So it was when I filtered to Hong Kong. I also wasn't very confident about getting any job in Hong Kong, to be quite honest. So, but I know I've told this story before, but I tried. I just tried. Yeah. So the uni jobs can be helpful. So you could filter jobs to get the ones that would show you Hong Kong or any other country. Then LinkedIn Learning. LinkedIn Learning, I put it here because there are a lot of soft skills you can get from LinkedIn Learning. And if you graduated or if you're currently in a Hong Kong school, many Hong Kong unis have access to the LinkedIn Learning. So, and you can get certificates for there, free of charge. The last I checked. And then Arcadius is mostly like business related openings. Arcadius is helpful if you want to try your hands on business school related applications, not just in Hong Kong, but around the world. ResearchGate, there are a few applications there are a few openings that could be presented there. Then Coursera, of course, Coursera is your go-to for many, upskilling courses and opportunities. Same as edX and other similar, platforms that I haven't mentioned here. Then always check the institution's website, check their HR job openings so that you could also, apply directly. Then in terms of teaching culture, some days can be really intense. So I remember last semester, the autumn term. So I had all this block teaching, and then I saw myself coming home very late. So, but the block teaching was for a master's course, and then after like a month or two, that course elapsed, and then they didn't have to write exams, so it was good. So you go very hard in terms of intensity, and then after some time, it gets lighter, and it also depends on your track. So, for example, in Hong Kong Metropolitan University, in the business school in particular, they have two tracks. So they have those one on the research track and those one on the teaching track, which is also something you could explore, assuming you're looking for job opportunities and you want to probably stay in research. So you want to become an assistant professor, associate professor, and a full professor. So, for example, I'm on the research track and the research expectations are quite high. So somehow I have to try my best to manage, all of those expectations. Basically by planning ahead. It's not always easy. Hong Kong can be very stressful, to be honest. But that's the reason why the salary is high, really. If you think about it, So, and then you also try your best to get used to the knowledge, have knowledge of technology used in the classroom, like Kahoot, Socrative, Mirror, depending on what you're teaching. Mirror is basically for design courses. Recently, I've been teaching some design courses, like user experience courses. So Socrative it's a gamified platform, just like Kahoot. So you can play games with students, especially Asian students who don't like to talk to class in class. At least you could see and appreciate their level of understanding of the concepts you've taught using these technologies. Then in terms of preparation, I would say if you haven't taught before in your life, which is not very likely because I know many Nigerians have taught. I mean, even if we don't teach, and then on a good day, Nigerians can advise. And basically, that's what you need. That's what you need. We can talk, on a good day. We analyze politics. We have it. It's natural. It's natural. So if you haven't taught before, you could take courses on Coursera, on LinkedIn Learning. And I mean, even if you haven't taught before, this is an opportunity that means you're preparing for teaching opportunities to, write down all those skills, those church talks, those community talks, anything you have done before, the tutorials you've done, for kids, for teenagers, just bring them on, have them on your CV, and be ready to talk about them and how you can transfer, some of the skills that you have learned in all of those contexts to, the application that you're making. Most importantly, I would also add that if you don't say it, nobody knows it. So if you don't, this is the time to really showcase whatever you have, and if you do not do that, nobody will do it for you. So your CV is your first contact, and guess how many minutes it takes employers to look at your CV? It said it's 3 minutes. So how do you impress in 3 minutes? So you want to highlight all those opportunities, all those experiences that you've had in the past, and see how you can leverage them to get the new ones, the new opportunities that you seek. All right, so attend webinars like this one and other trainings. In fact, anywhere they call opportunity, just be running. You're running towards it, right? It could just be voluntary, like online, outsourcing, crowdsourcing, this one, just join. Use them to, I would say, embellish your CV, embellish in a good way, right? You're not boboing them, right? But you're trying to show them what you can do. This is a global competition. You're competing with people around the world. You're competing with people from mainland China. You're competing with people, if you think about it, it's global. You have to prepare globally too, to make sure that all T's are crossed, right? And all I's are dotted. And then read books in interest areas. If you want to do a pivot, try to read books, attend, courses on some of the areas you want to pivot to. And trust me, I've seen people who have changed careers at 60 years old. So it's really, there's no limit in terms of timing when you can pivot or when you can change careers. Now, I'm not saying that everybody should start to teach. No, there are people who are born for it. There are people who can teach. There are people who can explain very complex material in very simple ways that even a 9-month-old baby can understand. So there are people like that. There are also people who train themselves to become teachers, given the opportunities or expectations that they find, right? Then there are people who really would not probably want to teach. That's also fine, right? It's okay. We mustn't be, on the same path. So long as we are successful, and I think it should be okay that way. And it may also interest you to know that AI is taking a lot of jobs, but from the last report, the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report, you want to take a look at it so that you also advise your siblings or relations about what courses to study. So in that report, a lot of jobs will either go into extinct or will evolve to something else. So, but one area that hasn't really been at least affected so much, especially by AI, generative AI, is teaching and mentoring and coaching. So you want to think about you want to think about that a bit more. Of course, there are other areas, technology related areas that will probably be more sought after. But I would say teaching is there also because there's something called legitimacy. So people want to make sure that whatever skills you have, they are legitimate and they are endorsed by an institution. So that being so, people will always run to, get a certificate or a master's degree, whether they need it or not. They'll try to get it from a university to, validate whatever skills that they have. Now, if you think about it that way, then you would know that it would be nice to remain in the academia. Although yes, AI is threatening our jobs in different ways, but there's still a lot of high level understanding exercises, that you could pass on as a teacher. Right, so learn about teaching pedagogy. So when I mean pedagogy, I just mean methods for teaching. So here in Hong Kong, there's something called outcome-based teaching and learning. I mean, it's not just a Hong Kong thing, but around the world. So people are beginning to say, oh, if you teach, make sure you measure certain outcomes. So if you design your courses, make sure that they are learning outcomes. Right. So I think this should be like my second to the last slide or so. All right, so try to apply, keep applying, whether Hong Kong or anywhere. I mean, we're in Hong Kong, that's why we're, sending out some of these information opportunities in terms of webinars and slides that we send out. So I would say talk to people. The other day, some very random. I've never met her before. I don't know her. She chatted me up on LinkedIn to say, you know what, I'm a business consultant. I'm happy to come to your class as a resource person. So in most Hong Kong schools, as part of our learning, we also invite industry experts to teach. And I know a colleague who was an industry expert. He taught a few times in CDU just as a visiting, industry expert to explain certain concepts. And today he's working in MU. So he, of course, he had a PhD before going to the industry. But industry jobs can also be very demanding. So he had to move back to academia. But the reason, one of the reasons why he was also able to get the job is because he had, taught just random teaching that he had done in universities as a visiting, industry person. So you could ask for information chats. You can say, okay, can we just have a Zoom meeting just to get some information about how to apply for certain jobs? And this is not just about teaching. It could also apply to any other job. A lot of people do information chats. I mean, it could even be the HR person. It could be the dean, So remain positive and try to be helpful. When you see that somebody is organizing something and the person may be instrumental to your getting another job or an opportunity, you can say, oh, can I, help you organize this? Can I volunteer to do this? That way you also show enthusiasm, about, about what to do. All right. So this is, I will be rounding up now. So try your best, remain positive, keep applying. Don't allow anybody to discourage you. And please hang in there. Help is on the way. You will definitely break through one day. All right. My time is up. Yeah. So thank you for listening. I'm happy to connect at any time. I'm happy to share any insights or opportunities that I have from time to time. Sorry, I think I overran time. Sorry about that. Right. That's all from me. Thank you. Hello?
Hello, sorry, just a minute. The moderator is trying to connect. We apologize. Thank you, Dr. UGWUANYI, for the presentation. We really, really appreciate you taking the time to educate us once again. Okay, please, Joyce, go on.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma, for your presentation. It's been very enlightening, and we just wish you could continue. Like, it's very interesting one, actually. And what I picked the most from your presentation is that we should be competitive globally, because when you're applying for a job, right, people are applying all over the world. So, and you have to stand out for you to be considered. I know there are some institutions that consider diversity and inclusion, whereby they want to include people, maybe Black race, for instance. But then, even for you to be included, you have to show yourself approved. So we have to keep improving until we get to that level where we can compete globally. So I want to thank you once again for your interesting talk. It's time for Q&A. So we have 10 minutes for Q&A. You can ask your questions. You are free to ask your questions for 10 minutes. So I'll be inviting Miss Linda on stage to coordinate the Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Dr. Ijeoma, thank you so much. Your presentation is so rich. So we don't have so much questions based on what I can see at the chat panel, but when I'm done with this, I could give space to persons who would want to ask by themselves. Maybe they don't want to type. So this person actually said very big thank you to the association and to Dr. Ijeoma. And following the question, he's a PhD student, is a PhD graduate in South Africa and would want to know the chance or the opportunity level in order to get a job in social sciences in Hong Kong, having graduated with PhD in international relations and policy and politics.
Okay, let me quickly, should I react to that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please. Because I already took time, let me not take further time. So yes, there are opportunities here, but I would say talk to people, right? Talk to people who are, you could ask for an information chat. The reason why I said talk to people is that certain schools need certain things at different times, and the windows open at different times. So when you talk to people in any target university, it will help to give you some opportunities in terms of give you make you more competitive. That's what I'm looking for the word for it. So make you more competitive and put you in the front line. Yeah, front line of people who will be considered for any opportunity. So it's possible. And then check. I do know that in Hong Kong, a lot of South Africans. I mean, if you, we all know that there are hierarchy in terms of who they let in into their circle, right? So in terms of that hierarchy, for example, in China, I knew some friends in China. At some point in China, in mainland China, I mean, they didn't allow any other African country to teach English apart from South Africans. Linda, you know about this, right? So at some point, yeah. So in terms of hierarchy and in terms of racial hierarchy, it's not supposed to be so. I mean, we're equal human beings, but somehow this hegemony exists, right? So of course, in terms of diversity, we all know that Africans are second to Indians and then Pakistans, because also these people have a way of learning the Hong Kong language very easily. But for higher education, you don't even have that problem, because I mean, you don't have the language problem. That's what I mean, because learning is an English language, so you don't have that language problem. So what I'm about to say is that they have a regard for South Africans, and I think South African schools, of course, because we know the history of South Africa. So I would say just do information charts, find out who is doing what, see if your research aligns, see if your teaching interest aligns, and then take it off from there. There are a lot of colleagues from different countries, especially in Hong Kong Metropolitan University. So there are colleagues from deep I don't remember this name, Hungary, a lot of countries, including Mauritius, Morocco. Some of them don't even have PhD. It's just that they have maybe one or two links here and there, with these Hong Kong schools. So I would say just do more networking, and once your school has a good outlook in terms of accreditation, in terms of decency, I think you should stand a chance.
Thank you so much. And I think I want to emphasize the South Africa thing. Like, he's currently in South Africa. So it's possible that he does not have any international, maybe he has not gone out to do any other study aside from what he had done back home in South Africa. So someone coming from South Africa to work here, what is the chances? What's the competitive chance? Yeah.
Okay, so the chances, because also Hong Kong is changing quite fast, and because we can't even make predictions about the future, I would say just apply, talk to people who are involved, and in terms of, if you want me to give percentage, I would say 50-50. Yeah, it's 50-50. So have a research good research background or outlook, have publications, do some teaching. Even if you haven't, show interest in teaching, take teaching courses or volunteering, and then present it. I would say 50-50, because things are really changing, although we don't know if it's for better or for worse, but that's about change, right?
Thank you so much. Please, if you would want to ask by yourself, you can just raise your hand, so I allow you speak.
Okay, I just want to add to what Dr. Ijeoma had said regarding South Africa. I think these are schools here also consider your ranking, your institutional ranking. And now when we check Africa, South African universities have they are the highest ranked universities in Africa. So I believe by that indicator, they have higher chances than other Africans. Not to say other Africans don't stand a chance, but I believe in that case, South Africans stand a very high chance. And like she said, if you want to consider teaching, let's say in the university, for instance, your publications, your research outputs count. Like that's very, very important. For teachers in secondary school or primary schools, those ones don't really matter. But for a higher institution teacher, it's very, very important to have that. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you so much. Since there are no questions coming up. Okay. Oh, please, I just saw a question. I wish to get something clear. Oh, wow. Sorry, please. I need to transfer this to my phone. Reading from my system is really, yeah. I wish to get something clear. Does it mean that the only path for one to apply for teaching is by doing a program in any of the UGC schools? Is it compulsory?
No, it's not. So like I said, there are people who did their both masters and PhD outside Hong Kong. But the thing is, they also look at ranking because they are very careful about their their outlook, their international outlook. Just make sure that you have have a decent. So for example, in business, if you did your PhD in an AACSB accredited school, then you stand a very great chance. And to the best of my knowledge, the only school in Nigeria that has the AACSB accreditation is the Lagos Business School. I do know that not everybody goes to Lagos Business School. However, there are chances that if you have good publication and generally you have a very global mindset, so for example, you've done international volunteering, you have some international certificates on your kitty, you can apply. Because I was speaking to someone in a conference in Canada, and this guy teaches, maybe not in a very top school in Canada, but who cares? It's in Canada, right? It's Wefel Lore, right? And he tells me, you know what? I do not have any foreign degree, right? I have. He was teaching in the University of Lagos, and he had both his master's and PhD in the University of Lagos. But he's also this kind of gra person. So when I was asking him, he told me, anywhere he enters, he has this certificate, he does this. Of course, that's his personality, and he was able to, win over the heart of people who gave him a job in that school in Canada. Mind you, also before he got that job, he was able to do like a lot of teaching in so many of the colleges in Canada. That's Canada, yes. But in Hong Kong, I would say there are a lot of people who have very, very, like international mindset kind of, thing. So they want to see people who are very enthusiastic about, making an impact, abroad. They want to see the energy, the motivation, and this has to show in all of those things that I have already mentioned: certificate, courses, interaction. Ask for information chats. Show how enthusiastic you are. Volunteer to do stuff. I think the thing is nobody knows. And then, especially for all of us who believe in miracles, you really don't know where your breakthrough will come from. So there's no harm in trying. There's really no harm.
Hello?
She had joined.
Please, can I?
Okay, I'm coming, please. Mr. Israel, please, I'm coming.
Okay.
Thank you. So the person asked a question is to
Linda, I can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello? Okay.
Yes. We're losing your voice is
it's going again.
Yeah, we can't hear you now.
Now you
spoke it. Yes, but it trails away from time to time.
Okay, I think the question which the person had asked, you have answered it already. You had encouraged us to apply to different places as much as we can. And so the next question is about what is the work-life balance if one would have to work in the academia in Hong Kong?
So it's tough, but you really need to, the work-life balance question is something you're going to answer everywhere, like whether you go to industry or whether you stay in academia. So like I mentioned, the pay is good, and because the pay is good, they are quite thorough. So like a lot of very, very tiny details are put into consideration in almost every work. So they want you to give feedback to students at a certain time. They want you to prepare certain documents at a certain time. Yeah, the pressure is there, but again, it's about self-management. They can be quite human when you explain things to them, but the times you need to deliver, you need to deliver. So, for example, my schedule in autumn term was very tight, but this spring term is better. So I have 2 courses, and there's one I had already taught. Okay, the trick again with academia, especially the higher education, is that if you're giving the same courses consistently to teach, then the learning curve just keeps dropping, right? Because you already prepared the slides, you just make a few updates for that semester. When you're talking, you're just talking from your past experience. So the preparation time reduces as you go along. So because preparation time reduces and you just report the same number of hours, then things start to get better. Of course, in your first year, it will be very tough, right? So, but again, it's about self-management. It was also not easy for me in the first semester, but as it goes, as things advance, it becomes better. And then, if you're in the research track, summer usually a bit freer, right? So I know a lot of people do travels during summer. A lot of people go for conferences during summer. So teaching is not intense. So mostly what people teach during summer is mostly like master classes or distance learning courses. And then the enrollment is usually quite low. So typically in Hong Kong, summer, most students go abroad for, learning opportunities, exchanges. So summer is not intense. So if you have summer to yourself, you can do more planning, spend more time with your family. And then the good thing about Hong Kong is that they have the domestic helper, category of visas. So you can bring your, you can get a domestic helper, of course, from the other Asians here who usually serve as domestic helper. But you can also get somebody from home. For example, my helper is from Nigeria. So this also helps you to, do further planning. Like if you have to pick your child up, they can help you pick up your child. Then I don't do social media. I hardly do. You hardly see me on Facebook or anywhere. So the thing is, there's always a give and take. So you take here and then you reduce here. You take here, so you take up more opportunities. You have to reduce social life. But again, you can compensate with spending more time with your family or very close friends. So there'll just be no time for frivolities. You manage your time well, every second will count. But I would say nobody will give you something that is above you. It's stressful, but that's why they pay you that high. I mean, salaries, higher education salaries are actually quite higher than salaries in the UK, for example, as in like assistant professor positions in the UK. So, and I say this because I've done an interview for a UK school. It's not, nobody told me that. I found it out by myself. So there's always a give and take. So that's why some people, they make all the money in Hong Kong, and then after some time, be like, oh, let me go to a more relaxed environment. But then, by then they build their financial, stability and all that, and then they go to a more relaxed environment. So there's always a give and take, but you just need to have more self-management skills, I guess. There are some things you cannot do. You can't just be loafing around. You have to sleep on time. Everything just has to be on time. And you have to put a lot of thought and planning for every activity you get involved in. So yeah, so that's what I would say about. And it's the same, to be honest, everywhere in Hong Kong, whether you're in the academia or in the industry. Depending on where you work, Hong Kong is quite demanding. But the good thing is the work ethic is stellar, and you can always take it anywhere. So you take it anywhere, and people will always respect you for your work.
Thank you so much. Mr. Israel, please can you unmute to ask your question?
Oh, thank you so much, the moderator. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you so much, the moderator. I want to especially thank the associations for this kind of opportunity to extend it to few of us like this to learn and not to, opportunity to migrate, because to have opportunity to look for a better place to survive. And I want to say thank you to the presenter too. Maybe just to reiterate what I typed on the chat box, because already I think I got all the answers, and I got the contact to disturb Dr. Ijeoma in future. I'm a doctor from here, University of. I actually had my PhD in international relations at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. As you have reiterated, some kind of university institutions ranking. My school is one of the highest ranking in Africa, actually number 4 in Africa, and worldwide is at the first for something. So issue of university for where I graduated is not a problem. About myself, I've got a good number of teaching experience, almost 5-6 years in the teaching industries, teaching and learning. I've got a few publications for myself, international and in a very high ranking journal. So we actually answered most of what my query, just that because the way the moderator was pushing to you. So thank you. And I just want to look for opportunity to look for a better place. When I was told about your program, I was so happy that let me take my time and listen to you and see. But the thing is that with Hong Kong, I think these things are very close. I don't know how to do it. And also I have got a certificate from University of Hong Kong university teaching from Coursera. So I have all this quality, but you need information to move, like a social network and the likes, which you have advised us, because I wrote in migration area and although that was in international relations. So I do understand what you said. So I think I'm clear. And most importantly, you have shared your email with me. I will also share my CVs and few of my publications to advise. Maybe there's a particular way you do your own CV in Hong Kong, so I can tailor it towards that, because I want to come and join you very, very soon to that. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Israel.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Linda.
I am Dr. Israel.
Oh, Dr. Israel. Hey, sorry, I'm so sorry, sir.
We also have similar things like this in University of South Africa, in where I graduated from. Actually, I founded the Association of African, the Association of Nigerian Students UKZN. It's been running like about 8 years. So when I saw your name, I was like, we are in similar business. But that was a long time. I'm not more a student. I've left them, but there, I want to say that association, you are doing very well. And you see that the impact is feeling all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Ijeoma. We are grateful.
Yes, sir.
This is the end for this section. This is the end.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Israel. That was a very nice commendation, and we are so grateful for that. Thank you, Dr. Ijeoma. You can stop sharing your screen. And thank you, Miss Linda, for coordinating this session. Yeah, though Dr. Ijeoma has spoken about university jobs, I think there are also other opportunities like research assistants, research associates, in case you don't have a PhD, to apply for a lecturing job. There are other things you can apply. But one thing is that everything she has spoken today applies to everybody, whether you want to work as research associate in any area you want to work with, that applies to you. So for the next session, we'll be talking on teaching in secondary schools. Please permit me to share my screen.
You can just go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So we'll be moving to the next speaker, Mr. Dare OWOYEMI. So he'll be talking on 360-degree approach to job hunting in Hong Kong secondary schools. Sorry about it. 360-degree approach to job hunting in Hong Kong, and he'll be focusing on primary school rather, not secondary. So he obtained his science degree education in chemistry from Ekiti State University in Nigeria. Afterwards, he completed his 1-year compulsory National Youth Service Corps at Benson in Dahosa University. In 2019, he moved to Hong Kong to pursue a master's degree in social sciences. Alongside his academic pursuits, he embraced the vibrant culture of Hong Kong. For the past 4 years, Mr. Dare has been actively involved in the field of education in Hong Kong. His teaching journey began as an NET, that's native English teacher, and progressed to a general teaching role in 2021 to 2022. Currently, he holds a teaching position as an assistant primary school master since 2023. Throughout his tenure, Mr. Dare has taken on various leadership responsibilities, including serving as a level coordinator, being nominated as head of department, and overseeing the coordination of English extracurricular activities and competitions within and outside the school. So we invite on stage Mr. Dare OWOYEMI to give his talk. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? I will.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yes, sir. We can hear you. I'll try to share my screen now. Okay, so I'm not sure. Can I share my screen now?
Please go ahead and share your screen.
Please try again, please.
Please try again, please. Okay.
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 Mr. Dare, you're muted.
Okay, I think Mr. Dare is encountering some challenges.
Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen. Okay, I think I'll just.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we proceed with the next speaker.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Because I couldn't find where to share my screen now.
Okay.
Because I'm using another system, so I couldn't find the tab. So I will try to change another system. So maybe after that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll be calling on stage Miss Denise. She holds a bachelor's degree in health science, physiology and psychology, and a BA honors degree in management. She entered the workforce and was employed by the Provincial Department of Health as a human resource practitioner for 6 years. Ms. Denise served underprivileged communities and engaged in charitable organizations as a project manager, assisting after-school projects and homeless communities. In 2018, Ms. Denise obtained a teaching certification from Eye to Eye and decided to pursue her fondness for teaching. Currently, she is an English as a second language ESL teacher at the Education Lab, Causeway, Hong Kong. She lives by this quote: "Teachers who love teaching teach children to love learning." So, Ms. Denise, please, can you share your screen?
Hello, everyone.
everyone.
I hope you guys can hear me. So my name is Denise. Thank you so much, Joyce, for that introduction. Yes, so I am from South Africa. I don't think you guys mentioned that. And so I'm happy to see us all here in the house today. Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about opportunities here in Hong Kong. And we'll be talking a little bit about what I do at the Learning Lab. I hope you guys will be able to see my screen. Please let me know if you do not. Okay, sorry. Can you guys see? Give me an indication if
We
you
can see your screen, yeah.
Perfect, good. All right. So let's go right ahead. I think one of the biggest reasons people would normally ask, so why would I want to teach English in China of all places? Why would I not go to the US or to the UK? But I think what's great about Asia is the fact that we have these compatible salaries. And so that is something that I think attracted me definitely to this city. Also, we have a diverse exposure to different cultures and food. Now, I do know we love food. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to adjust to the food that the people eat here. But we do have places like in TST where Nigerian food will be served. So you're not out on a limb by yourself. Okay, what happens also, it sharpens your English proficiency. English is not our first language, of course. And so, but when you come to Asia, you are exposed to this because it's going to be your required, what you will be required to do on a daily basis. So it sharpens your English proficiency. It's relatively safe. I love jogging. So I sometimes wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I go for a jog and I'm relatively safe here. So you don't have to worry about that, especially for women. It's really very, very safe. So if nothing else, this was the very good reason why I came over to Hong Kong. All right, a variety of outdoor activities. They have the mountains and the ocean on this side, and everything is quite close to each other. So you'll be able to do all of that. Water activities, lots of cultural groups, and a lot of things you can do here in Hong Kong. So it's definitely a very a compact city with a bunch of things to do. All right, so just minimize this. About learning centers. I'm so sorry, I ran all the way up my stairs to make it in time for this meeting, so I'm out of breath a little bit. But I hope you guys are all still good. All right, so about learning centers. So students in learning centers are a little bit different to those in primary and secondary schools, right? So the first thing we're going to learn here in learning centers is we sharpen their verbal, written, and interactive skills, making use of the English language. So it's not like they are learning English as a subject necessarily, but more an overall perspective of English. So they come throughout the day, a variety of age groups, all the way from 2 years old to about 13, 14 years old. And they come after school or just before they go to school to learn English as a second language. Working hours for learning centers are normally from 9 a.m. all the way up to 6:30 p.m., depending on obviously the school that you get accepted into. Mondays through to Saturdays. And how that will work, you have your Sundays off, and then you have a day within the week, which you always get off as well. So for example, for me, I have Sundays off, and then I also have a Monday off. So that's how that will work. Okay, so training will be provided by your school. So if you have any questions on how to use the materials, your school should be able to provide you with training. I'm hoping the school that you get accepted to will provide training to you, but they are supposed to. All right, just like I mentioned, age groups can go a variety of age groups all the way from 2 years old until 13. We even get younger than that sometimes as well. So just be prepared for that, to have some crying. So the requirement for okay, right. So the
Please proceed while we try to correct the problem.
No worries. So the requirements for you to come over and learn at these learning centers, the first things is English proficiency is a prerequisite. If you are not very clear in your use of the English language, they might decline your application. So a lot of people would say, but why do you sound like this now? You sound like a white person. You're not supposed to be talking like that. But unfortunately, if you don't pronounce the words correctly, the student cannot understand it correctly, and therefore they cannot spell the word correctly, right? And so we have to understand that when we speak the English language, the way we pronounce the words, the way we interact with the kids using the English language, all of that is important. So when you send your introductory video, which I'm going to talk about a little later on, you would have to make sure that you form your words correctly. If you do not, they might actually decline your application. All right. The second requirement is a bachelor's degree. So for me, I have a bachelor's degree in physiology and psychology, but any bachelor's degree could be in communication or some type of language. Any bachelor's degree is acceptable. A TEFL certificate. So what a TEFL basically is, it's a certificate that you get online. Mine is about 120 hours, if I'm not mistaken. I will show you guys that as well, that you have to do before you come over. So you have to get the certification for this. You will do it online. Okay, visa assistance. So depending on the school might assist you with this. My school was gracious enough to assist me with this process. They will handle all of that for you. A 3 to 5 minute introductory video, just like I mentioned to you earlier on. You have to speak clearly, you have to pronounce your words right, and also the teacher engagement, right? They're going to see what kind of person are you like on camera. Are you shy? Because the way you perform on camera is the way you're going to perform in the classroom, right? So if you are quite shy and reserved and you don't really want to speak all that much, all of that will impact your application. All right, a resume with at least 2 or 3 reference letters as well. And then a degree in education or postgraduate degree will actually be a benefit. So if you are a qualified teacher, I can tell you doors will open up for you in Hong Kong. So I'm hoping I have a few qualified teachers on here today. All right, just like I spoke to you guys earlier on about those bachelor's degrees. So mine was done in Afrikaans, which is like a form of Dutch, right? But for you to come over, your degree have to be translated into the English language. So this was my degree in my language back home, and I had to get it translated into what it actually is, into the English language, which is a bachelor's degree in science, and it's particular in the health science field, right? The TEFL certificate that I spoke to you guys about, mine, I did with I2I, and yeah, just zoom in a little bit here. So I did mine in 2018. It was about 120 hours. Basically, this is just you're gonna do a bunch of assignments and assessments, lesson plans, and all of that. That is what that is about. So if you have any questions regarding that, please feel free to reach out to me as well. All right, so I actually went ahead and I listed a few job sites for you here. So you can go on to this particular one, Jobs DB is where I got my current job from. So it's relatively easy. Just go onto the website and they will ask everything. You can actually load your resume on these sites as well, and they will contact you as positions open as well. Please, I cannot stretch this enough. Do your own research about your school. Unfortunately, we are Black people. If I have a few white people on here as well, I just want to mention this. As Black people, we face a lot of things, and unfortunately in these schools we do get some racist schools as well. So please make sure that you check some reviews on your school. That is very important. I cannot stretch it enough. So when you go onto the job site and a school does reach out to you, please go and check out the reviews of that school. It's going to save you a lot of heartache. All right, good. These are my contact details. Please feel free. I think the slide will be with Joyce. I'm not too sure, but I can always send it to you guys as well. Reach out if you have any questions. I think I'm done talking. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask away. Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay, thank you, Miss Denise. Sorry, I pronounced your name wrongly the other time. So she's Miss Denise, not Miss Dennis. And thank you for your interesting talk. And like she said, you have to do your own diligence by checking out any school you want to apply to, because this is just to guide you. We cannot provide every information you need, but she has given you a guide. So you have to check out those websites she has posted and check if there are schools that are currently recruiting teachers. Then you can proceed with the application. So thank you once more, Ms. Denise. I'll be calling on Ms. Linda once again to moderate the Q&A session for the next 10 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Ms. Denise. Thank you so much. We really enjoyed the presentation and it was quite insightful. So no new question for now, but I will try asking the previous question before your presentation. You could give an input on that. So the question is, I have a work rate from 20 to 30. Will that affect my application?
Sorry, we cannot hear you, Linda.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better now.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Denise. So I would like to start asking a question that was before your presentation. So please, maybe you can also give us an insight.
I think it's quite difficult to hear you.
Even now?
Yeah, it's just coming off and on. I don't know if it's your connection, but it's not very stable.
Okay,
maybe better now. Please go ahead now.
Lab. Okay, I have a work break from 2020 till date as a teacher. Will it affect my application? That's the question the person is asking. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Miss Denise, that's a question for you. Please, can you answer that?
Sure. So I didn't really catch it. Do you mind repeating the question for me again?
The person is asking that, please, can we just get muted if we are not speaking? Please, the person is asking, I have a work break from 2020 till date as a teacher. Will it affect my application?
I think she means since 2020, he's been out of teaching.
Like the person
date,
has not been
right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
so will
he's
it
been out of
affect the
teaching.
person's application?
Yes,
No.
that affect his application, yeah.
No, it will not. Remember, at the end of the day, they don't really care about how long you've been out of work, as long as there's at least some type of record of work. If, let's say if the person did not work at all, and they, for example, just came out of university, none of those things will affect it. As long as they have, the most important thing that we have to understand is as long as they have a bachelor's degree and a TEFL certificate. Those are the only requirements. Because we have a lot of newcomers just fresh out of university, so that's not a requirement. Hope it answers the question.
Yeah, thank you so much for your answer. It's straight to the point. Please, can you also help with this question? The person is asking that there are so many that there are so many platforms and agencies that help with issuing the English proficiency. Which of them would you suggest?
Okay, so we're talking about the certification, right? So for me,
yes,
what I used was I2I. I have a link for you guys on the presentation as well.
Infinix Hot 12. Please, can you mute?
Okay, so that is the one that worked for me. Of course, we have a variety of ones, but the one that I can attest to would be the one from I2I. The link should be on the presentation.
Okay, thank you so much. And we also have another question. How long is the TEFL? How long is the certificate valid for, and how much will it cost to have it? The cost.
It's like your degree. It's valid for as long as you're alive, right? So
it does not have expiring date.
Expiring dates. The cost, I did mine in 2018. It obviously adjusted by now. So just do your research in terms of that. Once you're on the site, they will have the pop-up for you as to how much it would cost. Yeah.
Okay. So another question, the person said, thank you. Okay. The person has a BSc and 10 years experience in teaching, 4 years online. I have TELF, 12 hours. Okay. My challenge when applying for online teaching role is that I get feedback like they aren't taking Nigerian. I was lucky to get South African company and worked and wasn't paid. Okay, I think this person just wants advice. The person has a 10 years of experience teaching and 4 years online, and the person already has the TELF, the certification. But the person said when he or she was applying, what the feedback is that they are not taking people from Nigeria.
Okay.
But now the person is working in a South Korean company, and I work and wasn't paid. So what's your advice? Yeah.
Okay, so we are dealing with straight up racism in this case, right? Which is something we have absolutely no control over, right? So that's something none of us have control over. As long as we are Black, we will have those prejudices, right? So unfortunately, this just sounds like a case of people just not liking Black people. You just do what we always do and we don't give up. That's what we do. You knock on 1,000 doors, and if all of them close, you knock on 1,000 more. You just don't give up. That's it. That's the only answer I have for that.
Okay, thank you so much. Another person is asking if the person can make use of the teaching certificate from US, TESOL. Can someone use the teaching certificate from the US, TESOL?
TESOL? Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so another person is asking, can we use TEFL 12-hour certificate issued by teacher's record at no cost?
This person didn't pay for this course. Is this what I'm understanding correctly?
Yes, yes, the person did not pay.
I do not know about the if that course is valid or not. I would suggest speak to your school, because some of them might have different requirements to the exact certification that they need. I could say yes, and the school might say no. So just do your research on that particular certification.
Thank you so much. Do we have more questions? Or do you want to ask by yourself? Okay, another question. I'm coming, please. Does the number of TEFL, the hours matter? I see they are 120 to 500 hours. Can you explain the significance of the hours?
Yeah, so more hours would mean you've done more of the work, right? You've done it's like different types of degrees. If I have a bachelor's and then I have a master's and then I have a PhD, it's the same thing. The one with the PhD would be the one that they would prefer, right? So the longer the hours, the better the qualification. Mine is 120 hours and it got me in. Whatever works for you. If you have the money and the time to do it, please go ahead and do it. It might open more doors for you.
Thank you so much. Do we have more questions, or do you want to ask by yourself? Please raise up your hand, or we move to the next section. We have like a minute to go.
Okay, thank you. If there are no more questions, we move to the next speaker. Thank you, Ms. Denise and Ms. Linda. I believe we've been able to grab one or two things from her presentation. So the next speaker we'll be calling on is Mr. Dario OWOYEMI. Please, could you share the screen now?
Yeah, so Miss Linda, you're going to help me share the screen.
Oh, all right. All right.
So quickly, I'm just going to run through it, and my presentation is going to be more of if there's anyone here who is thinking of going into teaching, as maybe you want to do it as a short time thing. I think it's also good to teach English, as what Miss Denise has said. And if you're thinking of maybe you want to go into teaching, maybe you want to think about it for at least maybe for a longer time than maybe 2 years, 3 years. If you just want to do it like 2 years, 3 years, maybe you can consider teaching English. And like what Miss Dennis has already said, at least you have to have like 120 hours. That's at least, that is acceptable. That is at least. So it can be more, but at least 120 hours. So if you want to go into that, you can help me move on. You can help me go to the second slide. Okay, so I just want to quickly run through this. If you are thinking of maybe doing teaching for like 5 years, then you need to have some of this information, maybe like 5 to 6 years or 7 years in Hong Kong. Then you can consider some of the things I'm going to talk about. Those are the nature of schools in Hong Kong. The primary school in Hong Kong is compulsory, and that's why we have more students in Hong Kong, in the primary school at least. If any parent refuse to send his or her child to school in Hong Kong is going to be arrested, because it's a compulsory education. So, and it starts at the age of 6. So if you are interested in primary school, you'll be dealing with students from the age of 6. From 5 years old, they'll be coming from K3, kindergarten 3, and they'll be going to P1, and then like that up to like 11 or 12. And then we have the AM, and we have the PM and the O day, um, depending on the one you want to go. And then the medium of instruction, they teach them in English and Chinese. Um, and then we have like 18 districts in Hong Kong. You can go to the next slide. And in this 18 district, we have different types of school that are classified in Hong Kong. We have those which are government schools, aided schools. We have the direct subsidized school, and we have the private and the English schools foundation. So when you are thinking about teaching as a foreigner, I will advise not to go to government school because most of the government schools they will speak Chinese, and they are not open to foreigners, especially if you do not understand Chinese. And we have aided schools and a direct subsidized school. So in aided school and direct subsidized school, you might still have maybe some opportunity, but I think your chances of opportunity will be more in direct subsidized school. These schools are being funded by some special body, including the government. But the government have power over those schools, but we still have some NGOs, institution, religious group that still have their name on that school. For example, if you have a school like my school, the Union Institute. So the Union Institute is a Taoist religious organization. They are funding the school, and also the government is funding the school. So there are like three funding bodies. So we have the union, Dr. Chankok Cho, and we also have the government. So like 3 people, they are collecting money from 3 bodies. So then we also have private schools. Private schools are on their own. They don't follow the EDB rules. They do their own curriculum. They do their own by themselves. Then we have the English Schools Foundation. The English Schools Foundation, they are also like a group of school. If you want to apply to any of the English Schools Foundation, they have a central application portal. You just need to go online and search English School Foundation. They have hundreds of schools across Hong Kong. So once you go to their portal, you will see all their vacancies. You apply, they will distribute your CV to different schools where it is needed. And you can teach any of your subjects. If you want to teach math, you want to teach any other subject. You can go to the next slide. So now, what are they like? I'm not going to talk more, but from some of the agents that Ms. Denise talked about, you talked about Indeed, Glassdoor. These are some other agents or some of the other agencies where you can find some of this job, especially the English. We have the Head Start, Eureka, Language Tree, and all of them are there. And then you can also go directly to the school website. So when you get to the school website, some of them will post their vacancies under career. You will see a tab called career. It is always advisable to go directly to the school website if you are actually looking for some specific thing. Of course, you can use some of these online job portals as well. But for me, most of the times I'll prefer to go to the school website. Even when I have seen it on Indeed or Glassdoor, I'll still choose to go directly to the school website. Then I will try to look for where they have posted that vacancy. Sometimes you will see it under career. Sometimes you will see it under join us. Sometimes you will see it under school tender. Sometimes you will see it under news, school news. Sometimes you will see it under our community. Then you will see the vacancies, you will download their form, fill it, submit it, or sometimes they may just ask you to fill it online or send your CV to an email. You can go to the next one. Yeah, so these are some of the teaching positions you can actually look at. You can become a subject teacher. Maybe you want to teach mathematics, science, or English language as a subject. Now, I'm talking about English language as a subject now, not as a native English teacher. There's a difference between being a native English teacher and being a subject teacher. So if you are a native English teacher now, you are regarded as a professional in that English language. So if you are in a school, in some schools, you may just have to be proofreading their documents. In some schools, you may have to oversee some curriculum like Space-Town, PLPRW, a lot of their curriculum like that to implement it. And of course, you are also representing the Education Bureau Net session. And then you may, but if you are an English subject leader, an English teacher, that means you are going to be having your own class. That means you need to go to the class and teach. You need to set exam. That means you need to do some marking, exam marking. The native English teacher do not mark exams. You have to mark your exam, and they do not set exam. As a subject teacher, you have to set exam. You have to mark. You have to take on some roles like a level coordinator, or maybe even up to being the HOD of the department. So that means you have to be into the system. And then EDB native English teacher is also there. I'll talk more about that because that is going to close next week now, that opportunity. And that EDB native English teacher, those people are really enjoying a lot because you get a lot of insurance. You get housing insurance, they give you like 20,000 housing insurance every month, subsidy. You can travel every year. They expect you to travel every year with your families. And so they pay all the tickets, flight tickets for all your family, your children, your husband, everybody. And then there's some honorarium, like 100 and something thousand every year, apart from your salary. So that is going to close by 29th of this month, which is next week. I'll talk about that later. Then you can also apply for a teaching assistant, classroom assistant. If you think maybe you do not have much teaching experience, you can start with teaching assistant in the department. We have classroom assistant, another language teaching position. Even if you have French, you can also consider that in some private schools or international schools. Next slide. So now, having spoken about those things, what are some of the things you need? I try to classify this under 4 levels. The first level is, let's say, for example, the only thing you have is degree. Whether your degree is in education or you are just having a degree that is not in education. That's the first level. So you can use that degree to apply first as a native English teacher, coupled with maybe some experience in teaching you already have. So you package your CV and put those experience. And I will have showed you a sample of a CV. So after your name, you don't need to put all your names. If my name is OWOYEMI Daresho, they cannot pronounce my name. So I will just put Dare OWOYEMI. I will not put the 2 names. And I will not make it bigger. I'm not going to enlarge it because that's not what I want them to say. So after the name, I'll put native English teacher. That native English teacher will be bigger after my name. So when they see my CV, they'll see native English teacher. And after that, I'll put all the qualification I have. Just put BSc. If you have any other qualification, just give it GJJ, PPK. Just give it one title like that is very catchy. And after that, you put your address, all your address, phone number. Don't let them be big. Just reduce them. And after that, that's how you package your CV. And when you are writing your teaching experience, if you have taught in Lagelu Primary School in Nigeria before, or maybe any other school before, and maybe what you taught was just something, but you taught in English, or maybe you taught some English language, you can just put native English teacher and put the school and put the year. Don't say English teacher, just put native English teacher because you're applying for native English teacher position. And they want to see that because they want to employ you as a native English teacher. So that's the first. Sexual conviction, you will do it when you get there. They'll give you a letter, you go to the police, you do that, and that one is easy. The level 2 is the PGC. If you have PGC, maybe you do not, PGD, maybe you do not have education certificate. Once you get that job, you can apply for PGD part-time, and then you can convert your degree to education. And of course, you can do your TEFL and TESOL, either of the two. And the level, that's level 2, if you are still teaching, if you want to teach any subject, English or any other subject. So now if you want to go into maybe like mathematics or physics or any other subject, now you need to have education certificate. So that's when you can now do PGD to convert whatever certificate you're having to education. Now the level 3, now we are going in depth. The level 3 is I call it HKQA. Now, after you have gotten all those ones, you now need to do the evaluation of your certificates. You can take your certificate online. If you search this thing online, you will see where you can apply for the evaluation of your certificate. That is going to help you balance your certificate with Hong Kong qualification. So those people we assess your certificate. They want to know if you have education certificate, they will try to assess it for you if it meets up with Hong Kong first degree in education. So there are 2 things you can do. You can assess it for the level, whether your first degree meets with the level of Hong Kong first degree, or you can assess it whether your certificate meets up with the same teaching certificate in Hong Kong. So if you do it for teachers registration purpose, once you send it, if it meets up for teachers registration purpose, they will put it there, and you just send your certificate and the result to EDB. The EDB will issue you a teacher's registration certificate. That means you are a registered teacher. And if you assess it for just the level, they will just assess it for you. And when you get to the school where you are teaching, they will give you PTR. We call it permitted teacher. You are not a registered teacher, but the school will now send to EDB permission to recruit an unregistered teacher. So then couple it with your experience, and then basic law. This one is the basic law. It's not compulsory if you want to be a net. But if you see, we are going deeper. If you want to go deeper, you want to teach for more, you want to do more things, you want to explore, then you can now do your basic law. That is also, it's like current affairs in our country. So you just need to read, and it's static questions, and then they give you some time to answer those questions. So it's called basic law and national security test. Then the last one is the TRC. So once you have done your qualification assessment, you can now apply for, and it meets up with the teaching certificate in Hong Kong, then you can do your TRC. That is teacher's registration certificate. Then they will give you teacher's registration number. So that means you are a registered teacher. With that certificate, you can get any teaching job, any subject. Maybe you have studied mathematics, you can get a mathematics teaching position. You have studied physics or science, you can get that position with the teacher's registration number on your teacher's registration certificate. So when I did my own, I did chemistry education in Nigeria. And when I got here, I put my certificate for assessment, and they said it meets up with the teacher's registration certificate in Hong Kong. And I took that result and my certificate, I sent it to EDB, and they issued me my teacher's registration certificate. So now the second one is BLNST, and that is still the basic law. And the last one is LPAT. Now, this is another one. After you have gotten your teacher's registration certificate, and then you now want to teach English. You see, in Hong Kong is very complicated. I don't know, maybe because the English is not their first language. So whatever they do it well, in a well-organized way, and they do it in depth. If you want to become an English teacher in Hong Kong, not a native English teacher now, an English teacher, you need to have LPAT. It's a language proficiency test. So that LPAT, once you do it and you have at least maybe level 3.5 or above. If you have level 3.5, you can teach in any school, primary, secondary. If you teach in secondary, you will start as a GM. If you teach in primary, you will start as an APSM, which is the level I am now. So when you do that, LPAT, if you achieve level 4 and above, you can be the head of department. So now that LPAT is the one that will now give you the opportunity to now be into government scheme. Then whatever they'll be paying you based on the government scheme. and you'll be climbing the ladder every year. Can you go to the next one? Now, so procedures, and you have to visit the right agents, online jobs and school website, like I've said. Prepare your CV and your cover letter. You know those basic requirements. Package your CV very well, like I've said, even if it's just that you have taught your brother at home some things, put it there, and then know how to put it. If you are applying for native English teacher, then just write it a native English teacher and put the year and put the what you have done. Just make sure you package it well before you now put all other things. So then prepare your CV, submit it, ask for the progress, then they will invite you for interview, and then you resume. Thank you. The next one. This is just an example of the job application. Some of the job site, Jump. If you go on your phone, just type on Chrome, jump.com, or just type native net position on Jump. Just type it on your Chrome, net position on Jump. It will bring this to you. And it will bring all the net position, native English teacher position that you have in any school in Hong Kong. And you just click it. Some of them will ask you, it will close at this time, send your cover letter and CV to this email, send it. Some of them will say apply on school website to direct you to the place. Then this one is really good also. Yeah, so when you go there, then if you're outside Hong Kong, this EDBnet is a very good one. You can try to apply it online. The only problem there is you need to submit some of your documents, hard copies of the document. And after that, they will ask you for interview. If you have somebody in Hong Kong, they can just send it to them on their email, they print it for you and take it to Kowloon Tong. Their office is in Kowloon Tong, and then you put it in you take it to their office. I think that's what I have now. Can you scroll to is that the last one? Okay. So this is just an example when you search for any subjects or any position that you want to do. So I think this is where I'm going to stop. Thank you so much. I want to know if there's any question.
Okay. Mr. Dare, thank you so much, sir. I think you should still share the screen. Perhaps you might want to make reference to it while answering questions. And for Mr. Dare's talk, you get his contacts. Hopefully, sir, you release your contacts so that those that want to reach you personally can do that. So the most interesting thing to me from your presentation is the packaging. You know, even if you've just taught English to somebody, maybe to a friend, you can package that and sell yourself. You don't have to falsify anything, but just packaging to make sure you are sellable. So that's very interesting to know. So I'll call upon Miss Linda once again. Please help us moderate the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I might be echoing because I have two systems on. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, and you're not
Yes,
echoing,
please.
so please go ahead.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we have a question. Mr. Dare, thank you so much for your presentation. So someone is asking, please, is it a prerequisite to take the English language proficiency test before beginning the process? Also, can people outside of Hong Kong start this process?
For the English language test, which of them is it? TEFL, TESOL, or the LPAT? Which one are the one I've mentioned? Okay, or you mean the language proficiency
Yes,
test?
English language proficiency test.
Okay, because I just want, okay, maybe the LPAT which I mentioned. Okay, you mean, do you have to come to Hong Kong to take it?
No. Is it like, must the person do the English proficiency test before the person starts any of the process? Like you told us about.
Okay, any of this process. Okay, yes. Thank you. So like I said that for us, it's very important to start with the first level. So, for example, when I graduated from Lingnan University, I only have my bachelor's degree, which was in chemistry education. So I never had any of this. Even I do not even have TESOL. Even right now, I still don't have it. I still don't have TEFL or TESOL. So when I got my teaching position, I only got it as a native English teacher. And then gradually I discovered that, oh, people were doing PGD. Why were they doing it? Because they do not have education certificate. Oh, I had it. Then I tried to do the assessment. Then after the assessment, then I got my teaching registration certificate. And later I discovered that, oh, maybe I want to teach more. And then I did the L part. So you do not have to do it first.
Oh, that's so
You do
great.
not have to do it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And can people outside of Hong Kong start the process?
For the language proficiency, the people outside Hong Kong, I think they should. I think they cannot right now, but I think it is better. Like I said, it is always very best for them to be in the system first,
Before they can
because that would be too ambitious. Because if you want to jump directly into the L part, you want to become an English teacher just like that, and then you are a foreigner. It would be nice to start the process. You can start with the EDBnet. Or like what Ms. Denise said, you can start by applying for a native English teaching position as well.
Thank you so
So
much.
if you are outside Hong Kong, it's not the venue are within Hong Kong.
Okay.
Please, Miss Denise would like to add something to that answer, please.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I just want to correct something, or just maybe clarify if I understand your question correctly. We're talking about the PGC, right? This is the postgraduate certificate in education. We're talking about this?
No, I think they were talking about the L part.
Okay.
The English proficiency.
Yeah, the L part.
Test that you have to take in Hong Kong. You can't take it online?
Yes, for the L part. No, for the L part, you cannot take it outside Hong Kong. You can only take it within Hong Kong. For the TEFL, you can take it outside Hong Kong.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. So someone else is asking, please talk more about PTN and PTR, sorry. PTR.
Yeah, so I think
can you talk more
for
about
that one?
PTR?
Yes, for that one, the school will do that job for you. So I just put it there as one of the things that the school will do for you. Now you are not a registered teacher, but the school will register you, and they will give you a number, a teacher's registration number when they do that. So we call it permitted teacher.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And someone else is also asking, I would like to know if someone who is a graduate of English, not education, and the person is teaching English in a foreign country, still need to convert to education. Okay, yeah, like she's a graduate of English, not in education, but the person wants to know if the person would want to teach, would the person still need to convert to education to be able to teach?
Oh, I think you even have a lot of advantage. If you want to teach English as a native English teacher under the EDB scheme, there are 4 levels, 4 categories for the EDB net scheme, which I've just said that they are really enjoying. The first level is if you have your certificate, your first degree is in English, and then you do not have education, it's just in English, and then you have your first degree in English. Okay, so that is the first level. The second level is if you have your first degree in any subject, you have TEFL with it, and you have PGC, That's another level, and like that, like that. So you have a place. You do not have to convert it to education first. What you just need to do, because you are specialized in English, all you need to do, if you can do PGD in your place, I think it will give you more advantage. If you can do just PGD, it will give you more advantage with the English certificate. So that PGD will convert your English certificate to education certificate. So it's going to help you get that position as an English teacher. And if you have that certificate, in fact, you do not have to do LPAT again if you really want to be a English subject teacher. You do not have to do LPAT again because you're already an expert.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dare. Please, do we have more questions? Or do you want to ask? You can just signify or just mute you unmute and ask your questions directly. Okay. Sir, please can you for instance, someone in Africa like Nigeria, South Africa, other places who wants to apply and the person does not have a first degree in English, but the person would want to come in as a native language speaker, what will you advise the person to start with in the person's country
Yeah,
before
the person should just do TEFL or TESOL.
any of those
Yes,
two? So
any
once
of
the
these
person
two.
is done with these two, the
Once you
person
have
can,
done that, yes.
yes,
So
sir.
once you have done that, you can apply because, and make sure that the TEFL or TESOL is at least 120 hours.
Okay.
And you can have a letter or something indicating that you have done lesson observation or teaching practicum, something like that. Usually it will have in TEFL or TESOL. So, but make sure you just do TEFL or TESOL with your first degree. It's okay.
Okay. Another question I would want to ask is, if the person already has a first degree in English, having a master's or a PhD, does it like add anything to the person's salary or preference or ability to get a job or something like that? Having a master's or
Well,
PhD, does it increase the chances?
if the person already had first degree in English,
In
but
English,
the question,
yes.
yes, is it English education or just English?
English education.
Oh, okay. Then what that person needs to do is just to do the assessment for teacher association or just apply directly. Now, having a master's the master is also in English, right?
Yes.
And the PhD as well. Then,
Yes.
yeah, the person will have very high chances of getting job in secondary school, especially, and even in a renowned secondary school, maybe band 1 secondary school, maybe like some of this Poland Cook or some of the band 1 secondary school. Because some of them will also use this to promote their school. As we know, there are a lot of competition among primary schools, even kindergarten schools in Hong Kong. They are competing against each other. So they use the profile of their teacher to do some competition and promotion most of the times. So it will also help.
Okay. So that means if a person already has an MSc or PhD, the person won't be needing to do all of this conversion
And so
or
if it is
evaluation.
yes, if the first degree is in education,
Yes.
the person can use the first degree, which is in education, to do the assessment. You still need to do the assessment, qualification assessment under the HKQAV. So
Okay.
they are the one who will report to the EDB by giving you a result that this qualification meets the teacher's registration in Hong Kong. And that is, the person is really good to go with that result.
Okay.
You just need to submit your transcript and your certificate.
Okay. Thank you so much. And some of the participants would like to get your contact, maybe email or something. You could help us with that. Thank you, sir. And another question is, please, can we have one-on-one interaction with Mr. Dare, I mean his contact. Oh yes, that's the same question I'm asking now. I think he will be so nice to help us with that. So, and you can email the association in order to get information on the speakers too. Okay. Is it that someone must start as a native English teacher, or can one apply from another country as a mathematics teacher from outside Hong Kong? Sir?
If you want to apply as a mathematics teacher from outside Hong Kong,
Yes,
make sure that if you have your certificate and your certificate is education certificate, I've given you different types of schools. Then you can try to start with private or international school. Yes, so you can start with private schools or international school. Oh, I forgot to put international school here. So private schools or international schools or English schools foundation. Those three will usually employ foreigners from outside the country, and they will do visa for them. So, but what I would advise is for you to have more chance. I will always advise, if you have education certificate or you have done PGD, try to do qualification assessment. Yes, you can try to save up for it. And just online, just go to Hong Kong qualification assessment. It will bring it to you. And just online, you finish everything online. Although you have to pay some money for the assessment, but you can try to save up for it because it will give you more opportunity. So if your degree is already an education certificate, one, and if it's not education certificate, if you can do PGD for 1 year or part-time 2 years, and just add it to your certificate, which is not education certificate, and just submit it to the qualification assessment for maybe teacher's registration or for level assessment. They'll give you the result. I always believe it will be positive because you submit your transcript and they have seen your PGDE and they have seen your transcript if it is education certificate. You will now use that. You can use that to apply for any school, private, international, and ESF, even DSS, once you have all those things.
Thank you so much, sir. Which of them is like most easiest, or should I say, has more chance for someone coming from Africa? Which of them? Do you know if one like the person has higher opportunity?
Well, I think that for people, if we are for ESF, they are English schools. They are always English schools. They have a central vacancy portal where they announce their vacancies. And once you see that, it means all their schools, maybe they are in need of that position, chemistry or anything, then you can apply there. Private schools also are very good. International schools are also good. Though some international schools are maybe if it is German, Swiss international school, they will want to bring people from Germany or something. But some of them are still open. But I think private schools, international school, and ESL, they are really good. They are really good. But if you are within Hong Kong, that DSS, they are also very open. DSS schools, they are also open. Very open. But for aided schools, that is also very open. But if you want to teach English, that one is easier to get there. And for DSS as well. But private, international, and ESL, if you are coming from outside and you have gotten all those things right and you package your CV, believe me, you are good to go with those ones.
Sorry to interrupt. We have about 5 minutes left to finish up. So, and there are more questions coming in, but Mr. Dare, I think you can still address the questions in about 3 minutes. But if you have any question afterwards, we'll be giving his contact. I'll drop our email. You can reach us later. Then you can ask him your questions after the event. Thank you.
Okay, sir, please, can we know the cost or maybe an estimate of the cost for TFL and TESOL? Like, what's the cost?
For TEFL and TESOL, depending on where you want to do it. Like for Trinity, if you are doing it with Trinity, Ms. Demis also mentioned how much she did it. But for Trinity, if you are doing it for usually Hong Kong EDB net scheme, we always talk about Trinity. because they trust Trinity a lot. And there's another university, University of Sunderland, though they are specialized in PGD. That's in UK, it's online, but they also trust them. But for Trinity, that money might not be, maybe it's around 26,000, and you have to pay it 2 times. So you have to pay 6,500 first, and you pay the remaining maybe in the half time. And if you are doing part-time, you spend 3 months. If you are doing full-time, you spend like 1.5 months, and you still do teaching practice. That's Trinity. That's in Hong Kong dollars. But there are other ones that you can also do. There is one, I think my wife did one. What is the name? ITT something, International TEFL, and she only pay 1,001 or something Hong Kong dollars for that. And they issue certificates. And the funny thing was that we even asked that, oh, how about the teaching? Because there was a requirement for teaching hours and all those things. They still sent a supporting letter for any job you want to apply for. So that is International TEFL and TESO. Yes, International TEFL and TESO course. So if you browse that online, that one is self-paced. So, but for Trinity, it's one-on-one. It's online. If you are doing, you can do blended online or on-site. So because they have everything, so they collect more money. But there are others, like that International TEFL and TESO is 1,001 something. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
So it ranges based on the company. Yeah.
Oh, so sorry about that, sir. Thank you so much. For the last question, the person is asking, do you think people who have NCE but a degree in computer science without an education can be considered to have educational qualification requirements?
So your degree is not in education, but you have NCE.
Yes.
For me personally, I also have NCE, but my degree is also in education, but they are different, okay? But what I will advise is, I've not tried it before, but I think, for NCE, the transcript, if you have your transcript, is really strong. It's full with teaching. So I think you can also try it, because they will just look at the teaching, the practicum. So if it is related, if your NCE is related, the course is related with the degree, you can try it for the assessment. Yeah, but better still do PGD for the degree. But I think the NCE is also very strong for teaching. So if you add it to your first degree, it's a good one to show that you already have undergone teaching, teachers training. Yeah, so you can try it. I think it will be accepted. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Please, what's the cost of the evaluation, the Hong Kong evaluation, the qualification assessment?
So in Hong Kong, it's around 3,500.
3,500.
Hong Kong dollars.
Must you be in Hong Kong to do it?
No, you don't have to be in Hong Kong.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. I think with this, we come to the end of this section. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Please, can you stop the share? Thank you. Sorry, trying to share my screen. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this webinar. We are so grateful to everybody who has been in attendance. Especially, I'd like to thank the speakers who not just only made it to this event, but they also made out time out of their busy schedule to share their wealth of experience with us. We are so grateful, sir and Maz. Thank you so much. It's been a very enlightening session with you. Also, special thanks to the organizers, the Association of Nigerian Scholars in Hong Kong. For those who were not here from the beginning, actually, the Association of Nigerian Scholars in Hong Kong is a collection of every scholar here, undergraduates, master students, PhDs, postdoctorates, and even those in the academia, like the staff in different universities. And our aim is to put Nigeria in a positive light, because people here have a very bad, how do I put it, notion, so to say, about Africans. right? But we believe we can correct those things they've heard in the past by representing the country in a very positive light. And so far, I think we've been doing well on that. We've been doing so well on that. So actually, this program was intended for our members here, but the second thought, we decided to throw it open to everybody who desire teaching opportunities in Hong Kong. And this is our own way of showing support to everyone, both our members and non-members. Special thanks to the president of the association, Mr. Ogedengbe Ikeoluwa, and to all the ESCOs, myself, who is the secretary, Ms. Linda, who is the PRO, Mr. Soporuchi, the welfare officer, and Mr. Tiamiyu, who is the treasurer. We are so grateful for this event, for making our time to organize this. And I want to thank all attendees who have joined us so far. I believe it's been a very enlightening session, and that you've gained at least one thing to support your application for teaching jobs in Hong Kong. Now it is left for you to do your due diligence by putting together your application and sending it out. So you cannot get a teaching job in Hong Kong if you don't try, if you don't send it out. So this is a call to you to send that application as soon as possible. So you get the slides from this presentation. You just send us an email. I dropped our email in the chat box. Send us an email, then we can send you the slides. So once again, thank you to everybody. Thank you for staying with us to the end. And we like to take a group photo before we leave. So please turn on your camera. Mr. Soporuchi, please can you help us with that? Please, everybody, turn on your camera shortly.
You have to stop sharing first, please.
Oh, okay, I do that now.
I'm going side to everybody. Hold on.
Cheese, everyone, cheese. Okay, I think that's done.
Thank you. Hopefully, we are going to see you all.
Good to see
in
you.
Hong Kong by the end of this year.
Oh yeah, we anticipate your presence here. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. You can leave the meeting now.
Can you see at this